What's up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of Music Career Study Group, where we get together every week, every Thursday, and talk about a topic, ask each other questions, learn from each other. It's a really casual discussion often. So if you have questions today or any advice you want to share about music distribution or music promo, I'll be here. Normally, I'm here with Kevin Bruner, but today he's in Los Angeles. He's attending the Taxi Road Rally, which is a music conference centered around sync licensing. So getting songs placed in TV, film, commercial, stuff like that. So he's not going to be joining us here. And I don't feel a particular need to be on here for an entire hour. If there isn't need for it, I'm happy to just be here for 5, 10, 30, or 60 minutes, whatever you want to do. If you have questions, keep them coming. I'll be happy to chat. But if not, I can wrap it up fairly soon. But I do want to know who's out there, who's watching, where you're watching from, what's going on in your musical life. Anything you want to share, let me know. And while we're waiting for people to say hi, let me give you a really important news announcement, which is that Reverb Nation just announced that premium membership includes unlimited distribution. So if you have albums, EPs, singles, holiday tracks, demos, live recordings, remixes, remasters, anything like that, and you've been sitting on it. Hey, what's up, Ian? Talking about unlimited distribution, which is now available to Reverb Nation premium members. So if you've got tracks that are finished, but you've been sitting on them because maybe for cost reasons, you no longer have any out-of-pocket cost besides the membership fee to distribute as much music as you want through Reverb Nation. And again, that's holiday tracks, demos, live recordings. And we live in this world now and have for a few years where prolific artists who are putting out music more frequently have an advantage. They've got a lot of advantages in terms of capturing the attention of their existing audience because it's, more at bats to just get in front of them, but also based on how like algorithmic surfacing works, recommendation engines, they really do favor artists who are putting out stuff way more frequently. So this with unlimited distribution for Reverb Nation premium members, you kind of don't have to worry about the extra cost anymore. And you can put out as much music as you want. As soon as it's ready, you can drop stuff as singles. And then later, maybe 6 months later, you've got 12 singles you put out. You want to bundle them together as an EP or a full album. You can totally do that at no extra cost. All the stuff is included, UPCs, ISRCs, Opportunities Program, which is a feature of Reverb Nation. You get unlimited chances to pitch your music to promo opportunities, festivals, playlists, radio stations, labels, all sorts of stuff. So really you can have unlimited distribution and unlimited promotion for every track you put out. What's going on out there? The chat's kind of quiet. Ian, got any great advice for us about either promo or distribution or questions? Kevin's not joining me today, so it's just me rambling into this camera unless people want to chat. But I will also say I took about a year off from marketing through Meta stuff for either my own music or friends. I used to help a lot of friends and people in the singer-songwriter world with their ads, and it was a great learning experience. And I sort of took a break over the last year, but for the fact that I got back into it about 3 weeks ago. And it's been a reminder of the amazing opportunity and the frustrations of music advertising. I was helping a friend, Alice, set up her ads for event responses, which is like she's created Facebook events for each of her shows on a tour. And she wants to be running these ads that have, it can be maddening. What the running ads. Yeah. So what I was trying to do was she had some really good live videos that I thought I'd run as the content for the ads. Yes. So this is exactly what I was running into. And basically I'd use these videos to capture the attention. There'd be some copy that would say like, hey, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, I'm coming to play at this venue. Can't wait to sing for you. That type of ad. The objective was to get people to, enjoy the video for one, but then hop from there to the Facebook event, hopefully click that they're attending and buy a ticket. That was really the objective. And Alice, the person I was helping, had a time crunch. This is a tour with very concrete dates approaching that need the ads to be running and approved. And so I thought, well, I've done this 1,000 times. I don't need to be too proactive. I can set them up a week in advance or something like that. So I waited. I sat on this task, this homework that I had to set up the ads for. And then I was going away for a weekend with my wife, and I was like, I should get those ads set up now. So it was like Friday morning or something. I go in. I think I've set up the campaign and the ad sets and the ad correctly. And then I go to press like launch the damn ads. And there's all these errors. It's telling me I have a content objective mismatch. Has anyone run into that one? It's telling me I can't associate the ad with a particular Facebook event, even though in the drop-down menu of the ad dashboard, I can see all of Alice's gigs, like all the ones she's created Facebook events for. So I'm like, it's right there. You're showing it to me in the drop-down menu. Why can't I choose it? It wouldn't let me choose it. Anyways, I was troubleshooting for hours and hours and hours and getting really frustrated and thinking to myself, this is why musicians shouldn't procrastinate at stuff, because I have to leave for the weekend. I've kind of left this sort of to the last minute. And if I don't activate these now and get the ads approved on a Friday, I won't be back to address this till Monday. And then her show, at least the first show in the series of shows that I'm trying to run the ads for, is like right there. Maybe they'd run for 12 hours or something. And what good is that going to do her? It's a question. Have I done anything with Google's ad platform? I have never. So yes and no. I have used Google and YouTube, that sort of ad stuff professionally, like for the old company I used to work for. We did a bit of that. Yes. I've never done it for my own music or to help a friend musician. Have you? Any thoughts? Has it been beneficial or frustrating? Maybe it's frustrating in a different way. So one moral of this story I'm telling you about complaining with the ads thing is don't wait. Like I waited to the last minute, had a big delay. Thankfully, when I came back on Monday, I did literally everything identically to how I'd done it the prior week, press go, and it all worked magically. The ads were approved almost instantly. They started running. So the good news is I was actually able to fix it, or at least launch the ads. But what I think was happening maybe in hindsight is just like during like the ramp up to the holidays and election season, there's just so much advertising happening that maybe like they were freaking out as an ads platform and things weren't functioning properly. But it was just such a good reminder of like, don't wait to do this. Once you have this task that's date dependent with a deadline, start to work at it sooner than later. Okay, Ian, you're saying, yeah, I've been working on developing it. It's insanely frustrating. When you say developing it, do you mean using Google ads? What's been frustrating? And also, what are you trying to do with it? I'd be curious about your objectives for it and why you're leaning in that direction as opposed to any other platform you could be advertising on. Let's see. Aaron D is saying, I get more generic views off YouTube and Facebook than I ever did off Reverb Nation. You guys need to find a way to get into the listener's face better. Well, so it's a comparison about Reverb Nation's Promote It feature, which is an ad tool. It's sort of a very different thing than Facebook or Instagram ads. And maybe in a way you could compare, I suppose, a little bit more to Google, because what the Reverb Nation Promote It tool lets you do is get your music ads directly onto a bunch of websites that are music related. So music blogs, things like Pitchfork, Billboard, MTV.com, Rolling Stone, very music specific websites. And they could be big sites like Pitchfork and Rolling Stone, stuff like that. And genre specific sites that are, smaller, but more niche traffic. Anyways, with Promote It, you get those display banner ads onto those types of sites. So you're creating more of like it's a little bit more of like the halo effect thing. It's not going to be the type of thing where you're doing granular targeting of people on a specific social platform based on their behavior. The cool thing about with Reverb Nation Promote It, though, is you can do an interactive banner ad. So it's a playable song or a playable video right there. So if, someone's on, let's say, Pitchfork, and there's your music, they can play it right there without having to leave or take any additional action. So it's pretty low friction, low barrier for someone to just take that action to investigate your music, because it is a very steep barrier, big barrier to expect someone to see a banner ad from a stranger, from a musician they don't know on a website where they're there for a different purpose, and then to get them to click through to some objective you have for them, but they're not there for that. So that's one of those things that's going to be more expensive to achieve that objective, as opposed to those interactive banner ads that can be played right there as soon as someone sees it. So that, I think, is the smartest way to start using Reverb Nation's Promote It, as opposed to Facebook Meta ads, where it's really more about like serving a particular content piece for a specific objective and with the ability to retarget. So kind of different things. Um, excuse me. Ian, all of the pieces are separate analytics, tagging, and the ads, and need to be set up independently and linked, but it doesn't always. Well, of course, it doesn't always work, right? It's technology. That's a bummer. Yeah, I'm working on building a similar flow that I'd set up on Facebook, excuse me, or Instagram. Using Google's properties. It's supposed to be super inexpensive, but it's tough getting it together. Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I did Google ad stuff for work purposes, it was always a little more like tedious, which is, I think, why I have not explored it with much enthusiasm for my own music, or when I've been helping people. It's just been easier to use kind of either the Promote It style halo effect advertising or the meta stuff. Let's see, Gerald, what's going on, Gerald? I've had some great promo help from Reverb Nation. Awesome. What's been happening for you? Was there a specific opportunity that you got, or is it more about the tools that's been helping you reach your audience, or what's the nature of the help been? I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, the ads can be a hurdle with so many people using ad blockers. Oh, well, that's a whole other issue. The thing, excuse me, when I was helping Alice with her ads, this is a woman named Alice Howe. She's a singer-songwriter, Americana performer. The thing I was reminded of, at least in the meta side of things, is that although we were going for a very specific objective, we wanted people to see her video and then click the Facebook event, hopefully with the purposes of them buying tickets to her concert. There is usually, even within the single platform of Facebook or Instagram, a bit of a halo effect going on too, because people who don't go to the show, or maybe don't have intention of clicking through to the event, still might watch that video and enjoy it. So now you're building an engagement audience of just video viewers who can be retargeted for maybe a different objective. You're also inevitably going to get likes and follows for your account. Excuse me, I should get a drink of water. One sec. Or a drink of moonshine out of my ball jar. So you're going to get these additional benefits, like people following your account, even though they might not go to the show. And she wrote me and said, like, hey, I'm spending this money now on the ads. What else should I be doing? And there's a few answers I gave her, some that she was already doing, and probably just needed the amen that she was on the right track. But being super active in the comments, for one, or if people are responding to the event, being active in the discussion or the comments of that event, so that you can be sharing Spotify links or whatever else it is. And then the other thing is, like, if you're spending money for new attention that's actually working to bring people towards your ad objective, you might as well be doing other sort of repeat activities like live streams, or, just having some content lined up to organically post, because new people you're reaching through an ad spend are going to be very likely to be served up more of your stuff in that kind of window of time where they've newly engaged with your stuff. So she went live, and it was really great. It got a lot of activity, and it's the time. It's a good habit to sort of be doing that stuff weekly anyways, but particularly when you're spending money on ads. Yeah, the halo effect. It's like that kind of more difficult to quantify benefit of a different activity. How's your day going so far? Mine is good. Speaking of musicians live streaming, I started mine back up, my own personal music live stream, which I had done for twice a week, every week for about a year and a half pre-pandemic. And then once everyone got online and started live streaming, I stopped. And now that it seems like everyone's out on tour again, it can ebb and flow. And I started up my live stream. I've been having fun with that. I do it once a week instead of twice a week now, but did that earlier today. It's a lot of fun. Kind of reminded again, like the additional benefits of just committing to something and doing it. Maybe one broadcast is only 10 viewers. Maybe the next week it's 20. Maybe it's back to 10 the following week. But you get repeat views. It gives you, a reason to email your list every week. It gives you the ability to make offers, merch offers, or whatever else. Sign up for my email list. It's like when you just commit to that thing and it's on a schedule and you do it no matter what. A lot of other objectives start getting solved, met, whatever. Things happen. That's what I'm trying to say. Good things happen. So as for how my day went, I'm pretty good. I did my live stream earlier. A lot of fun to sing. And you're saying Reverb Nation is great for networking. That's awesome. Charlie, what's up, Charlie? I have 7 demos from Paramount song Nashville. One a great Christmas track. What's the best way to move forward? Tried myself, but no joy. Can you explain more about that? Like, are you a songwriter who's demoed songs and you're having difficulty getting other people to record them? Like, what's the you tried yourself and there's no joy? Are you talking about like just recording your own songs? Curious. Let me know. I might not have any good advice for you even when you clarify, but help me out on that. Maybe I'll have something useful to say. Gerald, also communication with producers, the styles I was looking for to complete a song. Oh, cool. All right. So you've been like finding people in the Reverb Nation community who are in your genre. So you've collaborated. That's cool. And what other things have you seen be successful to getting people to show up to shows? Do you have any insights on how many people need to see the things in order? So that's a really good question. I think so. Kind of maybe a multi-part rambling answer here, but in Alice's case, she's at a place in her career where she has press, good press, at least amongst this sort of niche of folk and Americana. She has industry respect from that genre. So she's booking really good venue, like good listening venues. She's always on tour. But I do think so I guess where I'm going with that is that I think she would be in a place where the venues might be half full without any ads. So if she's playing a 200 room, maybe there'd be 100 people. If it's 100 room, maybe there's 50 people. But my sense is that the ads are doing a whole lot to make up the other 50%. And as for like what results to expect, it's tough to say. I'm sure you know this because it's so dependent on good content that's reaching people, the right content for the right people. So targeting, what else is going on in the world in terms of advertising costs. But let me think of it. Like if I had to take kind of a dumb average, I think if she spent $100 or $150 advertising a show, that may have led to something like 90 to 100 event responses. So it's basically the event response objective that she was going for. I think the average cost was somewhere between like 60 cents and like 90 cents, something like that. So my math might be off, but now that's just for people who respond to the ad and go to the Facebook event. That doesn't mean they're actually going through and buying a ticket or showing up to the show. But my sense, as she's been telling me, kind of reports week to week, is that it's making a difference and has been worth doing. Hopefully that answers. It's a bit vague, but I don't have her numbers in front of me, and I'm not sure she, I don't know if I should be sharing artist's exact numbers anyways, but to summarize, it's been a worthwhile expenditure for it. But it's actually a good point. Hello to Iceland. I'll go back to this real quick. It's a really good point about ads and marketing in general. Is I think one of the most difficult things artists deal with is kind of poor expectations, unrealistic expectations, because in anything we do, no matter who we share stuff with, it's that funnel thing. Is if you reach 100 people, well, maybe 10 of them actually like the video. Of those, maybe 3 love the song, and maybe you end up with 2 true fans out of the 100, but, like, everything functions like that. Ad spend, tour promotion, the whole thing. So, I think artists often go in and they say, "I've got $100, I'm gonna spend this on advertising," and they think they have a huge budget, and, in the grand scheme of things, $100 is really not much, particularly on a platform like Meta. So, when they get 3 listeners or, 25 listeners or something, it feels like an imbalance when probably, as long as your content's good, you're probably doing an average of what any good artist is doing on the similar thing. It's just, oh god, it's the tough reality of having to spend money to make money. So just kind of aligning your expectations with reality, I think, is an important thing to do. Where am I live streaming? Okay, so I'm live streaming here from this exact corner with that exact camera, to Facebook and YouTube. And then occasionally I'll do Instagram, but usually what I do is like 5 minutes, maybe like one song, a little bit of chit chat on Instagram before going live simultaneously to Facebook and YouTube to try and get some people on Instagram over there. I was kind of, when I was kicking off this live stream series, again, not the one you're watching, but my own personal music live stream series, which is called Lunch Songs Live. I was excited about doing Twitch and, kind of did a bunch of research, and Twitch is its own beast and has its own sort of functionalities and culture. And then I watched this gamer guy who has a pretty popular YouTube series about streaming on Twitch and on YouTube. And his take was like, YouTube's massive. It's already there. There's all this search traffic potential. He was basically saying, I'm turning my back on Twitch and going on YouTube. And that gave me a sense of relief, not because I have anything against Twitch or wanted to turn my back on it, but just simply saying, I don't need one more thing. I just need to go live again and do something regular on the 2 platforms I've already been active on in my life, and just simply make the habit of going live again and getting good at that, because I'm rusty. So that was sort of what I committed to in the short term, at least, is very short Instagram streams to try to get people over to YouTube and Facebook. I'll also schedule those YouTube and Facebook live streams about a week in advance. So I've got the link. I can be promoting it that way. I send an email with the link to both about, 15 minutes before the live stream. So just basically committing to what I was already doing, or recommitting to what I was already doing, felt like the sane way forward. Beautiful guitars back there. Thank you. It was funny though. This one, it is a beautiful guitar, but it's a really, really cheap guitar. It's one of my favorite guitars to play. It's very cheap in terms of cost, not material or anything. I got it brand new for $175, which I thought it was just going to be sort of a campfire, I don't care if it gets scuffed up kind of guitar. And then when I got it, I played it. I was like, oh, I love this thing. So I had a pickup put in it, and I use it all the time. But just because a guitar is cheap doesn't mean it's cheap, I guess, is what I'm saying there. I've also communicated with artists at studios, videographers, and online radio stations. Success is built on a mountain of failures. You're going to fail at everything. Yes, that is so true. And rejection is completely a part of this. Kevin just shot a video last week where he talks about this. It's like, he's a guy, Kevin, who normally co-hosts this with me. He's been nominated for a Grammy. He's toured the world. He's played on stages in front of maybe something like upwards of 100,000 people. He's had a real music career. And even he in this video is like, I've been told no way more than I've ever heard the word yes from music supervisors, from booking agents or talent buyers, rather, managers and labels, the whole thing. So just not taking a no as a closed door forever. It's wise. Thank you so much for getting back into it and sharing your time. Oh, thank you. Okay. So Charlie, you're trying to get label attention for your song. So you've recorded it and you're fine with your recording. It sounds like, right? You've performed it on your own. You've recorded it. So this is easy. Forget about labels. There's tons and tons of musicians who have massive careers who bypassed the entire label system and established huge audiences, a lot of revenue opportunities, a lot of engagement metrics. And then they get to a point where they are, kind of in this privileged position of saying, now that I've created my own success, do I want a label? Maybe the answer is yes. Maybe they've proved their business viability and a label's investment can just really scale it, supercharge it. Maybe they say, no, I'm fine where I'm at. What will a label do for me that I aren't already doing for myself? I'd rather just keep this operation going as is. And it's not like there's a right or wrong answer at that point, but it's definitely, I think, the correct mentality to just move forward and put your music out, and don't wait around for a label, particularly if you've already tried shopping and around to labels and you're being told no. Because remember, like my friend Kevin was just saying, you will hear no a lot more than yes. The Beatles, how many times were they rejected from labels before something finally worked for them? So no doesn't mean your music is undeserving. It doesn't mean there's an audience. It doesn't mean there's not an audience out there for your art. So just put it out. Let's see. Aaron, my dad recently got signed by the label that Willie Nelson owns, but his band hasn't been getting anything out of it yet. We are on radio stations around the world, but still having a hard time breaking out onto the bigger level. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really know anything particular about Willie Nelson's label, so I don't want to, talk crap about anything in that regard. But I have heard this story countless times: is that people do get signed, and things don't happen for them, or at least not in the way they think, or they don't get the attention they either feel like they deserve or that they actually deserve. But sometimes label rosters are too crowded and there's limited resources, and that attention often goes to the biggest star for business necessity reasons, which all of that seems to just be supporting my advice to Charlie of just put it out yourself. Charlie also had my Christmas track on a compilation CD and on Spotify. It's still about, I swear I saw Santa. That's awesome. So, okay, then maybe you've already done this and put the music out. Or maybe it's only out on that compilation and you don't control it, in which case I might advise you to go and talk to the person who put out the compilation. Remind yourself about whatever rights you still retain to that recording. And if you can put it out yourself, maybe do that. Which actually gives me a good segue into a bit of a plug for Reverb Nation. I'll remind everyone, if you haven't seen, Reverb Nation Premium membership now includes unlimited distribution. So you can put out everything at no extra cost: albums, EPs, singles that might include holiday tracks, demos, remasters, remixes, sped up versions, whatever it is that you're sitting on. If it's finished and if you're proud of it, put it out there, and it won't cost you anything extra. If you have a premium membership to Reverb Nation, we'll give you ISRC codes, UPCs, all the stuff. My dad and I are in all veteran band, and fixed incomes, VA compensation. Could Reverb Nation offer a veterans discount? That's a good question. I don't know, to be honest with you. I can look into that and ask around. When I was working heavily in the marketing space, Twitter came out with their live stream tool, and a PR friend of mine went off on people chasing new platforms. Oh, interesting. Like everyone tried to go live on Twitter, and your friend was like, stop it with the shiny, what's it called? Shiny object syndrome, where like just because something's new and seems cool, everyone shifts to it. That definitely happened with TikTok like 4 years ago. Every artist jumped to TikTok, and I think half of them ended up, feeling like they not led astray is not the right word, but it's like what works for a particular platform is what's in the best interest of that platform and not in the best interest of the content creator. So I knew a bunch of people who had success on TikTok as content creators. They'd go and they'd make skits and funny stuff, and maybe it related to music, maybe it wasn't. It was just, had some comedic value. And then a year passed and they're like, I've got 1 million followers, but every time I share something about my music, no one listens to it. And I realized I've just become a content creator, and they made that mistake of putting their artistry second to the engagement, when really what should be happening is their artistry should be in the engagement and in all of the content they make, so that, yes, a piece of content may stand alone and may be good and entertaining on its own, but ultimately should say something deeper about you as a person, or your music, so that when someone likes it and they see something else, what eventually what they're coming back for is you, as opposed to any particular like one-off fluke success you may have had, or even not fluke success. Maybe you're just really good at making funny content. But I'm rambling here about that. But I felt like TikTok was such a cautionary tale because it gave people so much algorithmic reach for free. And then so many of my friends were like, wait a minute, I stopped making music. Now I'm just a comedian on TikTok. Does that even relate? How does that relate to what Ian said? I don't know if it does. Oh, yeah, it was like the shiny object of the moment, and it was very shiny. And everyone, including myself, jumped over there and tried to make something happen. And maybe certain artists would have been better staying on Instagram or on Facebook or on Twitter or on Snapchat or wherever they were prior to that, where they had something going already. Let's see. Obviously, with my tracks being demoed in Nashville, they are in country style. If anyone out there does country, they're worth a listen. You never know. Yeah, hopefully someone will want to take a listen. And if you want to message the Reverb Nation's Facebook, I guess, what do you want? Yeah, you're on Facebook. Send us a message and share a link to that track if it's on someplace public. I can hear it. It's the Santa one, right? You thought you saw Santa? Sorry, I'm not a musician, just wrote the tracks. Oh, did you sing the track? I think if you sang it, you're technically a musician. Yeah, talking about focusing on YouTube and Meta instead of moving to Twitch. Yeah. I felt a great sense of relief when I just decided not to even open up that can of worms, because also, like, I wanted to do the simulcast thing, and doing that to Twitch as well as YouTube and Facebook suddenly felt very intimidating because, on this simulcast platform I use, you can pull into the stream people's YouTube and Facebook comments. But on Twitch, there's just all that other visual stuff going on. There's like the visual templates and people tipping you in, what's the Twitch currency called? Anyways, it just feels like such a different environment that simulcast approach doesn't feel quite appropriate for that, because it's just such a different beast. Keep forgetting about the lag. Is it more difficult as I'm in the UK? No. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't live in the UK to know, but if you're talking simply about distributing music on your own, putting it out there into the world, it works exactly the same in the UK as it does in the US or many other places in the world. You just have pick a distributor, and Reverb Nation again has unlimited distribution with premium membership. But you upload it to your distributor, and they will do the work of kind of aggregating it to every other place: Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube Music, Deezer. The list goes on and on. And then as you get activity in those places, the royalties are all paid back to the distributor and then to you. So it's kind of like just simplifying the whole process of getting the music out and collecting whatever revenue is generated from your music. I see. Okay. Yeah, it's like Streamlabs became a mess with templates. If you have Adobe, you can simulcast from Adobe Premiere. Oh, that's good to know. I did not know that. Aaron, where do you live stream your music? I'm forgetting. And if so, where do you do the simulcast thing? What's been working for you? What platform is better for you? Yeah. While I wait for some responses, I'll say I expected to talk for like 5 minutes and then run out of discussion material, but you've all been keeping the chat going. Thanks so much. It's a lot more fun when I have something to respond to. besides just staring at things and then going quiet and then saying goodbye. Um, let's see. I haven't been for the last year because of car wreck. Oh, I'm sorry, but my best views come from Facebook. Sorry you had some injuries. Hope that what do you say? Heals up without knowing the nature of anything you've been through. I'll just say I hope you heal up and can do it again. Yeah, it's tough for me to know so far because I'm only on my third week of my live stream that I've kicked off again, and I get the sense that Facebook in the moment is better. Like way more of the comments and stuff is happening on Facebook, as far as I can tell. But then once that's over, I notice the views on Facebook don't really go up much, whereas people on YouTube are watching the replay. So, I mean, maybe that's just the nature of YouTube is thought more of as a kind of archival video place where you can go back and watch things at any time. Whereas Facebook, if it's not like feed content, I don't think people think of it as much of as a video archive. You also stream on YouTube. I have not. Have you? I have a Bands in Town account, but I've never done anything with their promoted emails. True fact about the views thing. Do you mean that Facebook's better in real time and then YouTube's better for the replay? I also think or suspect that one thing I do afterwards is I go into YouTube Studio and I provide the chapter markers for my live stream. So I usually get around to that, later that night or maybe the next day, and I'll put in if there's banter, like something I'm saying that is more than 30 seconds and actually leads into a song, I'll give that its own chapter. Otherwise, it's every song title, and in parentheses, I put the artist name. So I haven't really checked the data since it's only about been a 3-week thing so far, but I imagine that might lead to some kind of search discovery too, is having the chapter markers with specific songs, which maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't do on Facebook. Or at least I'm not aware that you can. So I've done some promoted emails on Bands in Town with mixed results. It's great because it's targeted at self-proclaimed live music lovers, but it can get spendy fast. Yeah. One thing that if anyone watched Rick Barker's content with us during the whole month of October, he was with us for the first 4 music career study groups in October. And over that 4 weeks, he kind of slowly led us through this strategy of using the latest tools and social platforms to, make good content, capture people's attention and the right kind of attention while not asking anything else of them except for that attention and enjoyment. And then how to follow up with those people, knowing which ones did watch a significant portion of your video so you can retarget them, and then just kind of bringing them closer and closer to things that you can offer them that are off platform, whether they be, gated live streams or some behind the scenes experience you create that can only be accessed if they give you an email, things like that. But where was I going with that? When you're talking about targeting self-proclaimed live music lovers, one thing that he did in his targeting, which I thought was interesting, when he's let's say he's doing interest-based targeting. So he says, people in the United States and Brazil and the UK and Canada and Australia, let's say geography. Next thing down, we want them to be fans of Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, and whatever, Phoebe Bridgers, and whatever. That's enough. I'm sure there's tens of millions of people in that group. Now we want to narrow them further. So we're not going to narrow them by other artists at that point. We're going to narrow them by, do they like live concerts? And his rationale for that is if they are identified within the Meta ecosystem as someone who likes live concerts, they're also someone who will spend money. They're going to spend it on the ticket. They're going to maybe pay a babysitter. They're going to take the night off work, whatever it is. They're going to make sacrifices of their time and their money to support music they like. And that's the type of fan ultimately that you want to be bringing in. Often, not in all cases, but particularly if what your objective is eventually to get them off of a social platform so that the type of engagement is deeper, but also more frictious. You're asking more of them. You want them to be the type of person who is predisposed to taking more actions. So anyways, I liked that about his targeting. And he was doing that, I believe, even when he had streaming objectives. So if his objective is to get people to listen, let's say on Spotify, I'm pretty sure there are cases when he still puts that live concerts criteria in there as an audience exclusion to narrow it down to people who will then both like you on Spotify, but also come to your shows or pay you for a t-shirt or whatever it might be. I really like this live feedback stream. This is awesome. Wish more companies did this. I feel like we are interacting with the company itself. You have a lot of good knowledge about the product. You showed me a lot as I was randomly scrolling on Facebook. Awesome. Let me give you one of these back to you. Actually, I did this earlier on my own music live stream and it auto-focused. There we go. Rock and roll. Now I got to autofocus it back. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Thanks for being a part of it. It's nice to chat. Yeah, Wish. This is great, by the way. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you're all here. Thanks for being a part of it. I would plug those 4 discussions that we had with Rick Barker if you didn't see them. So throughout October, this very live stream, we had Rick Barker on as a guest. He is Taylor Swift's former manager. I think technically he might have been her second manager, but he was pivotal, instrumental in establishing that early part of her career as she was, I think, getting signed and promoting that first record or two. So a huge part of her foundations, I guess, at least professionally. He's got so many good stories about her, and but he's also just a super wise marketer. He knows kind of the timeless stuff about marketing, how it's psychologically driven storytelling, how to make offers and appeal to people's sense of identity or their sense of investment or whatever it might be. He knows the buttons to push psychologically to get a certain result. But the other cool thing about Rick is, despite the fact that, he's in his 50s and people might have a sort of ageist assumption that he might not know the latest and greatest about music tools. He's always super curious and up to date on how the latest things function. And he's actually a guy who I sort of like to have chats with just to figure out what the next trend is, because he's always in front of it and he'll be like, hey, you need to get on this service and check out this tool. So anyways, so in October, he kind of did that for the whole Reverb Nation community and led people through a strategy that the final one concludes with what specific tools you can use as part of that. But really good discussion. So go back and watch those. Speaking of Facebook and YouTube and archiving videos, those videos are on both of these platforms. Forgetting what we called it. I think it was the Turning Listeners into Lifelong Fans, I think was the name of the series. But if you go to our YouTube page or you scroll back through our Facebook feed on Reverb Nation's page, then you will see those videos. They're quite good. And chat seems to be slowing down as my voice is getting creaky. Anyone got any other questions they want to ask or advice about things you've tried to promote your music, whether it's advertising? We've talked a lot about advertising, and maybe it's worth reminding people that plenty of promotion does not involve you spending any money. It usually just involves you spending time to make good content that you can get a lot of algorithmic reach for. If it's, quality, if it's the type of thing that a stranger can enjoy immediately without any context for who you are. That's another thing, is maybe reminding people of the difference between outreach content and nurturing content. So nurturing would be like, you've got fans, you're speaking to them as if you know they're fans. And it's sort of self-referential to that relationship in some way. That content is amazing and super necessary for your existing fans. It is terrible for finding new fans because people see it, they feel left out, they're not getting the inside joke, they have no historical context for who you are, why they should care, why you're talking to them the way that you are. So another pretty good marketing basic is just to remember that different kinds of audiences are going to respond in very different ways to different kinds of content. So focus your time and efforts I would say mostly if you're still trying to build an audience, put most of your time into how do I say this? Put most of your time into engineering the type of content that you think will work for complete strangers. And you can do that by scrolling through your favorite platform, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or whatever, uh, searching for things based on genre keywords or your favorite artists or whatever. And eventually you'll sort of instruct your feed to give you tons of that type of content in your genre by other artists. And just save that stuff as you encounter it. And after 2 weeks of that, you're going to probably have 100 different videos you've saved, and then go back through that and say, like, what are the common traits of these videos? What do I think is working? Why is it working? What did they do to create that effect? Um, Tangential things about, did they use hashtags or not? What are their captions doing in relation to the video? Take a bunch of notes, like seriously get scientific about it, make a spreadsheet, whatever it is, how you can formulate a kind of template, and then let that inspire you to create something that is yours, but at least belongs in that same world of genre type content. And be very intentional in trying to engineer like a viral video. And maybe it won't go viral. Maybe it'll just find you 100 new true fans, but that would be a great outcome. And again, that doesn't cost you any or much money if it's, using your phone and relying on algorithmic reach. So all that to say, you don't always have to spend money on marketing, but you will definitely have to spend time. If you don't spend money, you'll have to spend lots of time. And again, that can be in the form of research and then producing or being inspired to reproduce things that you see working for similar artists. I will try not to send links for tracks, but I've got them all on CDs at the minute. Okay. The compact disc. Could Reverb Nation auto submit our material to events in our region instead of spamming the stuff all over the place? It feels laborious to have individually submit material to every event. At least that was my experience. That's a great question. I'll bring it up with our team of people that manages that. And I think what you're talking about is when there are opportunities in the opportunities list that are regionally specific, just so I know exactly what you're asking. You'd like that auto submitted if it's an appropriate, regionally and genre appropriate opportunity for your music. Is that what you're asking? Let me know. Yeah. All right. Let's see exactly about the region specific thing. Maybe I'm going to be corrected on a different thing. Yeah. Let's see. You know what? I'm just sort of reminded of all this content we've created over the past few months. I did on another week prior to the Rick Barker series, and I think Kevin was at a different music conference that week. I put together a one of these live streams where I led people through a whole bunch of social videos. Most of them were for Instagram. Some of them were on TikTok. And I just analyzed those. I said, hey, you should all be analyzing this stuff and making note of similarities and stuff. I did that for you, at least up until late September. It was like, here's what I think is trending and working for music related content on social. And there's 7 common traits that I found. You can go back. You could go to, actually, let me just find that article because I put it all in a blog article. Let's see. Is this it? Yep. 7 video trends for music promo. Let me put this in the comments real quick. And if you go to that article, it'll have the embedded video that I made, as well as some of the examples. If you're more of a reader, I wrote it all out for you. If you want to watch the live stream, it's probably about an hour, and I play a ton of the examples throughout. So that's worth watching too if you're in that, like, looking for inspiration on how to try to engineer your way towards a viral music hit on the video content side of things. I wouldn't dare tell you how to make a audio hit. You're on your own for that. Let's see what else has been going on in the Reverb Nation world. Let me think about some music news real quick as I'm looking at our blog. So I mentioned that Reverb Nation now offers to premium members unlimited distribution, so you can put out as much music as you want without any additional costs. You get UPCs and ISRCs for all of it. You can put out remixes, sped up tracks, remasters, demos, live tracks, acoustic takes. Maybe you treated a song in a completely different style or arrangement that didn't make the album, but you want it out as a single. You can drop as much of that stuff as you want. And then, because there's no additional cost for distribution, you can bundle up whatever you've put out as singles, maybe a year later as an EP or an LP. Again, no extra cost. And then some other news is TikTok is testing pre-saves, which I found pretty interesting. So you may know that TikTok Music, they had their own streaming platform. And a few months ago, they announced that they were going to close it. So at the end of November, TikTok's music streaming platform will be closed. And instead, they're going to kind of rededicate themselves, and they are already, to driving off-platform engagement for music that people discover on TikTok by being able to pre-save it on Apple Music or on Spotify, things like that. And so the pre-save for an full album pre-save is something that they were TikTok was sort of caught secretly working on this in a beta test. And then when the Music Ally is the music journalist who found it, and they reached out to TikTok and was like, hey, you working on a pre-save? And TikTok did confirm. They said, yes, we are. You weren't meant to see that, but we are. No estimate yet about when it's going to roll out. But Music Ally was sort of guessing around the 6-month mark. But anyways, I find it really interesting that as TikTok shutters its own streaming platform, it's really making an effort to not just help musicians. Like, yes, that's one aim, I'm sure, to help musicians get off-platform engagement. However, another and more self-serving reason TikTok is doing this is because they want clear actions and data that shows they are still super powerful as an engine for music discovery out there in the world. And if they launch these things, like they already launched save to your library or save to your playlist features, and now they'll have the pre-save. The more of this stuff they launch, the more actual actions they'll have to be like, look, we are a huge and important player in the music industry. Here's the data to prove it. So that was one interesting news item. Oh, let me see the Aaron, you're saying cool. Where am I speaking from? I live in Maine. I used to live in Portland, Oregon, and now I live outside of Portland, Maine, in a town called Lewiston, which is about 30-ish minutes outside of Portland. Gerald, hey Chris, I'm sorry I got interrupted for a minute. I didn't catch whether you create music yourself. Yes, I do. It's sort of Americana, singer-songwriter stuff with maybe a bit more of a Beatles influence than a folk influence, if that makes any sense. It's certainly folky in ways, but when I make recordings, well, let me put it this way. When I do my live stream, it's just usually me and a guitar or me and a piano. So things sound very singer-songwriterly and folky. When I make recordings, there's a bunch of stuff. There's synthesizers, lots of electric guitar, keyboards, sometimes horns and strings. It's very done up in more of like an orchestral pop treatment. Not always, but anyways, that's kind of my thing. Cool way into TikTok advertising. Yeah, I mean, that's we talked a lot early on about Meta and Google advertising and Reverb Nation's Promote It tool. TikTok, of course, has their own platform for advertising. They've got their own retargeting pixel. They've got their own in-app currency type thing for marketing purposes. Aaron, I'm in the nice warm state of Texas. I've played in Maine before. You do not have a Maine? No, I don't. I grew up in Rhode Island, so I missed out on the ability to have a Maine accent, and somehow I worked my way out of a Rhode Island accent too. So you're in Texas. It's actually really warm here in Maine. It's bizarre. It's like the past 3 days have been, no exaggeration, like summer. They're really, I don't even know why I have this hat on, except, speaking of Maine, this is the old Maine flag from the 1800s. There was a ballot initiative on our vote on Tuesday to replace the current Maine flag, which I think personally is overly ornate and terrible and confusing to look at. You kind of don't know what you're looking at, with the old one. Like, they wanted to go back to this nice, beautiful, minimalist, simple design. It didn't pass. I don't know what Mainers were thinking. Look at this. So nice. Anyway, so that's why I'm wearing this hat. There's some Maine politics for you. Um, let's see. I love the Beatles. What microphones do you enjoy using for your So um, for live streaming, this SM7 is great because it's directional and doesn't. I actually use a monitoring like a Bose Tower, like one of those singer songwriter portable PAs for monitoring myself in the room while I'm playing my live stream. But when I use a 414, which is what do you call it? Um, condenser mic with more omni pattern pickup, whatever, it can get feedback. So, anyways, I like this for live stream stuff. Occasionally, I'll use it for my vocals, but it sort of has a more flat. I don't know if that's the right term. I'm not really an audiophile or an engineer, but kind of has a bit more of a flat uh, presentation. The 414 for me has a richer, more like 3D human sound, but sometimes it's also a little bit too bright for my voice. Anyway, so I'm in my own setup. I'm stuck with those two, unless I want to get out a 57 or a 58. But why would I do that? Because this is basically a souped up 57. But I also make a lot of my recordings in studios, in which case I just leave it to the engineer to throw up whatever good thing they have that they feel like fits my voice. So it was probably a longer answer than you needed. But what's up, Miles? How's it going? You didn't miss it. You're here. You are here. You've made it. You are perhaps late, but you didn't miss it. All right. So I'm going to, in the interest of, I'll say mostly no comment on the first half of this. However, one interesting outcome of this that I think is potentially exciting is that it appears, according to Billboard reporting and according to some of my own sleuthing, that what has replaced that Merlin deal, which used to be, how do I describe this? Like, people used to get paid based on what was called a creation event. So if your music was used in a video, you'd get paid for that one time the user, the TikTok creator, flew in your music and made a video and published it. One time, regardless of how much that video gets seen. So if 1 billion people watched that video, you still only got paid for the one creation event. Never quite seemed fair or logical to me when everything else about the music industry, or many other things, are based on engagement. And so it appears now that what's replacing that Merlin deal in many of the direct deals is per view payments. And I think the payments differ per territory, like things usually do. It's never super simple. But I think that, at least in terms of independent musicians, for independent musicians, is more fair, because chances are good that you, as an independent artist, are not going to have the creation event reach that someone like Lizzo or Billie Eilish is going to have, or Taylor Swift. They're so famous. They have so many fans who are predisposed to loving the new music and just primed to make like a bulk of videos using that stuff. You're not probably in that same situation. And so the way that you can make up for that is by having a great song that makes a great, whatever, background audio or viral audio clip for a video that gets seen a bunch. It could be a wedding video, and maybe your song's perfect for this wedding video that's really touching. Or maybe it's some stupid human trick or whatever, something comedic. Your song, for whatever reason, just works with it, and billions of people see it. Well, now you stand to earn way more money than you would have if you just got that one credit of the creation event. So that's my long-winded way of saying I'm more excited about how the payment structure is going to change. I suppose if you wanted to be cynical about it, you could still say, well, TikTok controls the levers of algorithmic reach, so they can, kind of throttle how often people see things. But I almost feel like that's too cynical, because ultimately they want people to stick on their platform, so they still want to show people the best content. If your song is in one of those videos that they deem as the best content, they're going to show it to people. So I like the new payment structure better than the old one. And maybe that is some good news about this situation. Um, all right, you'll come back and rewatch. Oh, it's 3, which means I'm gonna go soon. I made it an hour. We did it. Thank you. Thanks for sticking with me and keeping the conversation going. Um, Great to speak from across the pond. I'm North UK, Durham, near Sunderland. I actually don't know where that is. Is that like near York? I'm probably offending you. Yeah. I'll look at a map after this. I'll educate myself. But good to speak with you. Thanks for being a part of this. Do you use your own plugins like EQ, delay, compression, or do you go to professional mixing engineer? Okay, so I either use, well, a few things. I record music all different ways. I have a Universal Audio Apollo, and when I use that, I use Luna, and that's like a whole world of plugins. I also use BandLab. BandLab's a great way to, if you're like on the go and you want to demo ideas, or even just start inspiration when you're on the move. BandLab has tons of awesome tools. Disclosure, Reverb Nation is part of the BandLab family of brands. But it's an amazing tool with all kinds of AI features where if you don't play an instrument, you can literally sing into your phone or hum into your phone. It will convert it to what's called MIDI. If you're not super familiar, I know sounded like Charlie was maybe either a beginner or a non-musician. So I'm like mostly explaining this for you, Charlie. MIDI is just a kind of a notation language. And once you have a MIDI file, you can then replace that, not replace it, but sort of put a skin over that, which is the sound. It could be a violin, a saxophone, a human voice, whatever, anything you can sample. And so once you hummed your part, now you can scroll through all these sounds, all these effects, and just have kind of almost infinite options of things that you're just singing in your phone. So people who don't have technical instrumental skills can make really cool recordings with BandLab. Where else was it? Sometimes if I have a particular old laptop and I'm at a hotel or something, I might use, oh my God, I forget, GarageBand, the Apple default thing. So yeah, I use all sorts of things when I am in Oregon working in my friend Jeff's studio. He uses Pro Tools. I know my friend Edwin uses Ableton. So my music gets made in probably too many ways. Yes, I too enjoy a good Neumann condenser microphone. If only they cost $4, I would have more of them. I would have any of them. Currently, my Neumann collection is 0. Though the guy I work with in Oregon has some, so I do use them on my vocals for that. You're waiting for me to end this broadcast, Miles, aren't you? So that you can watch the replay. I'm basically delaying your ability to watch the replay. 100 miles north of York. Oh, you're okay. You're even more north than I thought. Thanks again for tuning in. Time to clock out. And I'm just going to run through these and then I'll head out. Thank you very kindly. Respect your hustle and your time. Hospitality. Thank you. Thanks on all 3 of those things. It's my pleasure. Thanks for being here. So thank you for your time and hospitality. I can't comment on your hustle, but you are commenting on a music industry live stream, which indicates motivation, which indicates hustle. All right. Multi-digital interface. See, I've learned something today. Thank you, Aaron. Did not know that. Miles, when I'm songwriting, BandLab is a great, easy way to capture ideas. Then it's backed up too. So if you're toast your phone, yeah, totally. We talked last week about not backing up sessions on multiple hard drives or on, multiple analog tape or whatever. And BandLab stores everything in the cloud, which is cool for a few reasons. One is kind of that sense of safety that your music is safe. But it also means that unlike most digital audio workstations and music production workflows, your music is instantly in the cloud. So if you're waiting for someone halfway across the world to record a violin solo or to add a verse on, or add a beat or whatever, it's like pretty much as soon as you're done, you can be like, hey, here's my session, do your thing. So it cuts down on that like really, really frustrating lag time of sharing files in Dropbox or whatever, which I'm sure we all know, just kills the momentum and inspiration of a session. So BandLab is great for that too. BandLab is what I use for mastering my songs. Oh yeah, so it's got the automated mastering service that you can use to make it sit amongst every other new song that's coming out in a similar volume and a decent EQ that isn't disruptive when it appears on a playlist. Look at you, Miles, helping us promote our sister company, BandLab. Thanks. All right. Speaking of promotion and companies, I'm going to mention one more thing about Reverb Nation. I've said it before on this broadcast. I'll say it again. Premium membership of Reverb Nation now includes unlimited distribution, so you can release all the music you make at no extra cost. And I hope you will take advantage of it if you are a member. That's great. If you're not, you can upgrade. And you know what? I should really make this a proper advertisement here. Let me put this. I'm going to put a comment on both YouTube and Facebook. It'll have details of a 35% off discount you can use to get a premium membership if you use it in the next few days. It looks like it expires on the 10th. You use the coupon code UNLIMITED. I'm just limited distribution. So just go to reverbnation.com and you can put in the code UNLIMITED when you check out, and that'll get you premium membership with unlimited distribution. Also comes with unlimited promotion. We have an opportunities feature where you can pitch to all sorts of different things: festivals, bookings at regular music venues, radio play, playlist placements, label deals, the chance to have professional mixing engineers and songwriters workshop your stuff with you, professional development opportunities, a whole bunch of stuff. The list is really, really long. We update it every single week, so you can check back, every week or two and submit to whatever new stuff seems relevant for your music. And there's no limit to that if you are a member. Let's take care of that. And let's see, latest single buzzing is Blues Joint. Cool. And music is Everglade Boss and available on all digital music platforms. All right. Thanks for letting me plug myself. My name's Chris Robley, Robley. So yeah, my music's on all the places, Spotify, Apple Music, etc., under my own name, Chris Robley. Hope you'll check it out. Thanks. And I will see you next week. We'll have some sort of theme. Kevin should be back from Los Angeles. We'll have a discussion with all of you. If you have specific topics you want to learn more about, maybe put them in the comments and I'll check once the stream is over. And hope to see y'all this same time next week. Cheers.